I'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's your Ultra Blazeman here, and today I'm going to do a review of the very famous British Commando knife, also known as the Fairburn and Sykes. Now, the Fairburn and Sykes was developed by William Ewart Fairburn and Eric Anthony Sykes, and it was manufactured by Wilkinson Sword Company. Wilkinson Sword made a lot of stuff for the British Army. They made the SMOE bayonet and other various blades. This knife was used from 1941 in World War II and is still used currently today, but in a different format, in a more modern developed format. This is an old traditional model. Overall, the knife length is 11.5 inches, 29 centimeters, and the blade length is 7 inches, which is 18 centimeters. Now, this knife is very famous in British history. If anyone saw this around, they would instantly recognise it as the Commando knife because it is a very unique shape, and it's basically on all the old war films that you see. So what we have a leather sheath with this will mount these two bits of straps of leather here. These will be mounted on your leg. You have a metal tip here at the end. Oh, unfortunately mine's a bit wobbly. And you have up here a leather strap with a belt loop. It would have come with a securing thing, but my sheath is pretty in a poor condition. A family friend gave this to me, and it didn't have any strap holding it, so if you turned it upside down, the black blade would fall out. So I attached this bit of shoelace just to keep it secure. As I said, this knife was made famous during World War II when it was issued to British Commandos, the Airborne Forces and the SAS. It was especially used in the Normandy landings in June 1944. It has also been nicknamed the FS. And the point of the blade was, people saw it similar to a stiletto, if I pick that out, because the blade tapers down into a point and you have it having dual edge going down, double edge. This knife can be used, its primary function is a stabbing knife, but since you got a dual edge you can slice with it, but it's mainly for thrusting with, due to the point and how the knife holds, like so. If it was comfortable in a vertical grip like this, a downwards grip, if you're going to slash with it, it feels more comfortable to thrust rather than to slash, because normally they wouldn't sharpen at this point here, they would blade here, they would sharpen just the point of it so you could get in and pull out easily. This knife was also featured with the Royal Marines, the Belgian Commandos, the Dutch Commando Corps and the Australian Commando Corps, and even also the 2nd Commando Regiment and the United States Army Rangers. So this knife, due to its well-known capability, etc., it is very well known and widely used. So as I said, the first batch of these knives were produced in January 1941, and they were, the creators, Mr. Fairburn and Sykes, travelled to their factory for in the special training centre at Loch Elliott in November 1940 to discuss the ideas of this knife. In America, if you take American knives, you think the most famous one is the Bowie knife or the Bowie knife. Italy, the stiletto. In the United Kingdom, it is this knife, or the SML bayonet. But if you're just using a knife, it'd be this. Now, this knife was for close quarters due to its small length. And as a size comparison, I have a Spyderco Tenacious there, and Open L number 8. So what you have is you have a full tank construction, and it comes out in the pin. So you've got a metal handle guard, and brass here. Now, the metal here allows a solid grip, so you can easily choke on. This knife is, as I said, iconic, but yet also practical, but not a survival knife. This knife was primary function as a fighting knife. So this knife was also produced in several patterns. The Shanghai knife, which was based about 5.5 inches long, and then the first pattern knives have a 6.5 inch blade with a flat area at the top of the blade. But this was not present in the original knife. I'm not sure which pattern this was because it doesn't have any markings on it. But I know it is a proper one due to the fact that of its build quality and how it is made. Because the success of this knife in World War II and the wars in Korea and Vietnam, many companies have made their own versions of the SS fighting knife, such as the 1966 Gerber Mark II. Almost 2 million of British knives were made. Early production runs were extremely limited and demand was high, with many British troops attempting to buy their own. Because this knife was such, back in the 20th century, this knife is so good and so well known. It was like the biggest trend for the militaries. They just wanted their hands on it. So this was the best knife to have at the time. Now, if you think of soldiers in our armed services now, they want the main big tactical knives, maybe Spyderco, Topses, Gerbers, CRKTs, whatever. This was the knife to go to during the 20th century. The US military even created their own several other knives based on it. The US Office of Strategic Services knife manufactured bid was approximately 1/15 of the British equivalent, but US version of the knife, manufactured by Landers, Farry and Clark of New Britain, Connecticut, was improperly tempered and inferior to the British FS fighting knife in materials and workmanship. Its reputation suffered accordingly. A total of 20,000 units of the OSS version were produced. The OSS Dagger was officially replaced in service in 1944 by the US M3 fighting knife. So the Americans tried to copy this knife, but it was so poor quality and it couldn't match the British version. They created the famous M3 knife. So this also shows how back in the day, back in World War II and everything, how our military was and how our designs were very efficient and very useful, and that they were reliable. Fairburn have made other special types of knives, so the V42 Commando knife. It was also a derivation of the SF design, which is this. The V42 was manufactured by W.R. Case and Sons Cutlery Co. in the US from 1942 to 1943. So the people who have actually used this knife, I'm going to read out now, is the Royal Marines, the Commandos, the Airborne Divisions and the SES, and personnel who have completed all the Arms Commando courses. In France, you have the Commandos Marine, and people who have completed the Stage Commando in Lorient. In Poland, the 1st Independent Parachute Brigade and the Samodzielna Kompania Commando, 6th Troop Number 10 Commando. In Belgium, the Para Commando Brigade. In Canada, Canadian Armed Services. Even in Cambodia, the 9/11 Special Forces. Indonesia, the Kompassus. Malaysia, the Grup Gerakas. And in Singapore, the Singapore Commandos. In present day, you have 10 countries in total, including the United Kingdom, using this knife, but a more modern version, and in different special forces. This just shows you how reliable and how efficient and how great this knife is. Unfortunately, the major downfall of this knife is, say you were a soldier, you were stranded and you needed to survive. So this knife was used in World War II, as I said. So imagine you were a paratrooper, you landed in Burma, started, and you were stranded. You couldn't rely on this as a survival knife. This is a fighting knife. So you crash, you'd be in the forest and you need to start a fire. You can knock baton wood with this. When you put it down, you hit it, you're going to wreck the edge. So that's a downfall. It's only a fighting knife. This is why quite a few people in the military now like having a joint type of knife. So you can use it for survival and you can use it for a tactical fighting knife because it's still got that survival edge. Another good feature about this knife, it is very heavy. It's very nicely balanced. Also, not the camera there. All the weight is in the handle here. So you've got a heavy handle. So that means you've got the force to thrust it in, pull it out. I met someone in the Commandos. He was an old retired Commando person, and he told me how what the Commandos used to do was they would approach their target, hand over the mouth, put with a knife, plunge it in just behind the ribs into the lungs, so they make no sound. This is how effective this knife was. How you could easily puncture the skin into the lungs deep enough, pull it out without the person making a sound. So this knife, it just shows you how if you make something that is effective, of quality, and that it works, it will survive for a long time. You take phones for instance, if they didn't start, they've been good enough and they've been in the public eye and they are like the trend, and so they keep on getting used. So if you remember the first phones like the bricks, the Nokia bricks, whatever, the massive things, and now how we've gone to something slim like this, it's because people like them, but the trend, people want to use them and they want to develop them. This is the same thing with this knife. You have a simple design, basically all metal, full tang, a double-edged blade with a point, just a small handle guard, heavy weighted handle, and a few these rings for texture. They are a simple knife, but yet it is so effective and used that it's still being used now and being developed more. Medford have produced one with a Kydex sheath, G10 handle, and I agree, that looks nice to be honest with you, but you can't beat the classics like this. And unfortunately mine does have this marking here on the metal bit. It has here number 4 stamped onto it. Don't know if you can see this, but it has a 4 and like 2 lines going up there. Not sure if this means this is the 4th batch or this is model number 4. Don't know why it's not showing, but this is a proper original Commando knife by Fairburn and Sykes. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and give me more extreme than that. Subscribe to my channel because it really helped me grow and I really would appreciate that. I have been your one and only host, the Yorkshire Blazeman, and I shall see you next time.